Fans, Dom2K on the mic, and today I'm bringing you 4 of the greatest playoff series that we were robbed of. Now, what I mean by robbed is some outstanding circumstance that kept the playoff series from happening. Now, as we all know, the NBA playoffs are the best time in any NBA season, but they are also the most fragile time. Not just because one factor can change an entire series, but because one factor in any season can actually change a playoff series ever happening or not. Take for instance the 2015 season. We were all supposed to see the Oklahoma City Thunder play the Golden State Warriors then, but they were injured to hell that entire season, so it just didn't happen. Now, luckily we got paid back for that this season, but we also had to give up another series because we were also supposed to see the Clippers and Golden State rivalry play out. But by some sick twisted fate, the Clippers basically got dismantled by injuries in the first round of the playoffs against the Blazers, and that series didn't happen. Now, I first thought about this video idea when the Warriors and Clippers were supposed to be playing in the playoffs, and the fact that we were robbed of that great series made me just kind of want to go through history and see what playoff series almost happened, what great players almost played each other, and just sit tight because I think this one's pretty epic. Number 4, Lakers vs Rockets in 2009 with T-Mac. If you were around and watching basketball in 2009, you might wonder why I put this one on the list, because if you think back to 2009, the Rockets and Lakers did in fact play, and they did go 7 games. This was pretty much Yao Ming's last healthy season in the NBA, and he did a hell of a job in this series too. But the sad thing about this series and why it's on this list is because this was pretty much one of our only times that we would have gotten to see Tracy McGrady play against Kobe Bryant in the NBA playoffs. If you've looked up some stories about Kobe Bryant, he talks about how Tracy McGrady was his toughest cover, and although T-Mac had dealt with a variety of injuries by then, he wasn't totally done yet. McGrady has a pretty nasty injury history, and by this time he was dealing with knee injuries, shoulder issues, back spasms, pretty much all the things you really don't want to have when you're an explosive athletic player like T-Mac was. But right before he got injured that season, he wasn't doing that bad. He was still putting up about 21 points a game. But that's what actually makes this one so cruel, because right as the Lakers and Rockets met in the NBA playoffs, that was pretty much T-Mac's last year of elite status in the NBA. You look on Basketball Reference, he was averaging 21 points the year right before they met. Came into the next season and averaged 16 points, and he never reached above 16 after that. It went 13, 14, 12, like that was pretty much the end. And as most of you know, the cause of this was T-Mac finally had to have microfracture surgery, and that was pretty much like the big guy in all of his injuries. He had been dealing with all these nagging injuries, and that was the one that basically stole T-Mac from us. T-Mac only played 35 games that season, but had the Lakers even had the 21 point a game version of Tracy McGrady going into that series, they would have had a very good chance to really beat the Lakers. Now, they did give the Lakers a run for their money even without him, and that's why I say that. They went 7 games. Yao Ming averaged 19 points and 11 rebounds. Metta World Peace, which was Ron Artest back then, had a pretty good series as well. Him and Kobe even had some moments where, Ron Artest tried to fight Kobe. I don't think Kobe was really trying to fight him. But anyways, that's not the point. The point is, if that would have been a duel, at the very least, that would have been a great duel between him and Kobe. And that would have just been a great series overall, because this is back when Ron Artest was still a very good player. This was basically the end of Yao Ming's NBA career. I think this is right before it all ended. But if you would have thrown T-Mac, Artest, and Yao Ming versus Kobe and Gasol and his Lakers, look, we got robbed, alright? That was our one chance to see T-Mac and Kobe face off in a playoff series, and we missed it. By just 1 year, we missed it. Number 3, a Spurs-Pistons NBA Finals rematch. Now, as a diehard NBA fan, I think I speak for all of us when I say there's rarely anything better than an NBA Finals rematch in the NBA playoffs. Even though I'm a Celtics fan, I was praying the entire year for a healthy Golden State Cleveland rematch, which we got in the best way possible. Only reason I was praying for it is because I knew Cleveland was going to make it back one way or another. It's not that hard for them in the East to get there, but anyways, that's besides the point. Once we did get there, we got a beautiful Game 7, probably the best basketball game I've ever watched in my entire watching career, I guess you would say. And this is actually how it should have happened in the 2007 season, because just 2 years earlier, we got to see the Spurs and Pistons duel in a 7-game series that ended up going to San Antonio. And anytime a team loses in a Game 7, we all know we want to see them come back a year, or we hope it's a year and not 2 years later, but in this case it would have been 2 years later. We want to see them come back and try to avenge that, especially in the NBA Finals. You got Game 7, winner takes all, and there's just no sympathy for either side. Whoever wins, wins, and somebody goes home empty-handed. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure out that the Detroit Pistons in 2007 playing the Spurs instead of the Cavaliers playing the Spurs would have been in a better NBA Finals series. When you put Cleveland against San Antonio Spurs, you got this team full of, they had a couple of stars on there, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and they had bench support, and then you basically just have LeBron James on the other end and a bunch of players who can play defense. That doesn't work against the Spurs. The Spurs picked them apart. That series had very, very low viewership. Cleveland didn't stand a chance. There was just nothing there. Although the Pistons probably would have been beaten by the Spurs again, it still would have been a more eventful series because at least they matched up and they had a better team. But bottom line, in 2007, we definitely got robbed of a good rematch there because if you were around back then, I know I was, and Cleveland and the Spurs, that was a drag. And even the viewership, that's one of the NBA Finals lowest viewed finals of all time. So there's that one. Number 2, the Houston Rockets versus Chicago Bulls. One of the worst things that can happen in an NBA season or just an era in the NBA is to have two amazing players, two players at the top of their game, but they never find a way to cross paths in the NBA Finals or just a playoff series in general. And this happened with Michael and Hakeem back in the days where the Bulls were basically running the 90s. And I think we all kind of know how this story goes. Michael Jordan retires in 93 for a number of reasons. We could go on and on about that, but a specific quote I found from him that really pertains to this video is, quote, "I have nothing more to prove in basketball. I have no more challenges that I felt I could get motivated for. It doesn't have anything to do with my father's passing or media pressure or anything other than that I had achieved everything in basketball I could. And when that happened, I felt it was time to call it a career." Well, shit, that sucks because from where I'm sitting, he definitely had another challenge out there, and it came in the form of the Houston Rockets. Now, a lot of people disrespect the Rockets. The disrespect isn't so widespread from them, but a lot of things I hear is that, maybe if Michael Jordan didn't retire, they could have won 8 championships instead of 6, and, the only reason Hakeem Olajuwon has a ring is because Michael retired. And look, I wasn't alive in the 90s, but I've done my homework on that era. I don't know if that's exactly true. Now, check it out. The only thing we really have to go off of is in the 1993 season, the season before Michael Jordan retired, the Houston Rockets played the Chicago Bulls twice, and they beat them both times by double digits. Hakeem in particular really took them apart. In that first game, he had 28 points, 5 blocks, 4 steals, 7 assists, 13 rebounds. And this was on 63% field goal shooting. He really killed it that game. And from where I'm sitting, it's like, okay, well, maybe if the Bulls stay for the 1994 season, if Michael Jordan stays for 94 and 95, maybe they get a center to contest with the Rockets. I don't know, but if the Bulls do play the Rockets in the NBA Finals, who's going to guard Hakeem Olajuwon? And you might come back at me where who's going to guard Michael? Well, nobody's going to guard Michael, all right? He's the greatest of all time. Vernon Maxwell will try to deal with that. Maybe he, contains him. Probably he doesn't. But still, Hakeem is a multi-talented center. He could, play inside and out. The Bulls would have really had a hell of a time trying to find somebody to slow him down. Look, Michael's not a center, okay? He can't guard Hakeem Olajuwon. I know he can do everything else, but he wouldn't have been guarding Hakeem. So, who knows? Again, that's why this video is being made, because I don't know. It's just we got robbed of that series, and I think that's definitely one of the top series we were robbed of. However, I have one more that I think would have been even better, and Lord help me, I thought this series was going to happen, and it didn't, and I'm still pissed about it today. Number 1, the 2013 Lakers versus the 2013 Heat. I can already hear a lot of y'all saying, well, why the hell are the Lakers even on this list? They barely made the playoffs and they weren't good and da-da-da. You know what? One thing nobody ever talks about with the 2013 Lakers, for some reason, as more time passes, I'm starting to hear people just say they were just a failed super team. Yes, they were a failed super team, but part of that is because they missed a shitload of games. Now, let's just add up the starting lineup's total missed games alone. We're not even going to go into the other people who missed games, okay? Starting with the starting lineup and Kobe Bryant, he missed 4 games, Dwight missed 6 games, Paul Gasol missed 33 games, Metta World Peace missed 7 games, Steve Nash missed 32 basketball games. That's their starting lineup. That comes out to a combined 82 games that the starting lineup missed. If you combine all of the numbers together, it comes out to 82. In what world can a team with a starting lineup missing 82 games come out to be what they can, how can they reach their potential? They didn't. And even when you look at it, a guy like Metta World Peace missing a small amount of games like 7, or, Kobe and Dwight, Kobe got injured at the very end of the season, so that's another thing there. But the specific one I want to talk about here is Dwight Howard. Yes, he only missed 6 games, but Dwight, he really soldiered through this season more than anybody knows. Dwight Howard, he had back surgery right before he joined the Los Angeles Lakers. When he got there, he knew this was was a new super team thing they were trying out. He wanted to be there, so instead of letting that back fully heal, he came in and played through that injury. So he already was not the Dwight Howard from the Orlando Magic season. Then he ended up tearing his labrum, and that 17 points and 12 rebounds, I mean, it's alright, but that's not what he was like in Orlando. And even if you just watched him physically, that's not what he was like in Orlando. Steve Nash, I can pretty much off of memory remember him getting hurt like as soon as the season started, so he wasn't even there to, you know, start the offense and, you know, have them start to build something. That starting point guard that was supposed to be there. And when they came together, this is what I really wanted to get at for this video. When that team joined forces, we immediately expected drop everything, they're the Western Conference champions, kind of like we do now with the Warriors, but back then we really thought it, because the season before Steve Nash came to the Lakers, he was still averaging 12 points and 10 assists. And his second best player on the Suns, his second best healthy player really was Marcin Gortat for that season. The season before Dwight came to the Lakers, he was averaging like 20 points, 14.5 rebounds, and he was off of some Defensive Player of the Year awards. So the Lakers didn't get either version of him. Now, I've kind of gone on long enough talking about how injured they were. That's why this finals didn't happen. However, this would have been probably the best NBA Finals series in any NBA world ever, because if the Lakers had have stayed healthy, they likely would have easily been the best team in the NBA. Imagine that. You get the 2013 Miami Heat, who have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. They added Ray Allen that year. Then you got Battier and just so much talent on that team. Most of all, you get to see LeBron and Kobe on probably two of the most talented rosters they've ever been a part of. So if Kobe, like I said, that team stays healthy, easily that's the most talented team he's ever played on. With a healthy Dwight, Nash, and Gasol, that's like all-star game level. Then LeBron James with Dwayne Wade before his knees totally went to hell. You have that and Ray Allen and Bosh, and on the same floor we finally get to see the Kobe Bryant and LeBron James finals that we really didn't get to see. Like I said with Hakeem and Michael, the worst thing is to see two great players in the era never get to play. The reason I specifically picked this finals is because I could have easily said the 2009 finals with the Lakers, and it was supposed to be Cleveland back then, but the Lakers probably would have won that. Cleveland, I don't think they had the firepower to beat the Lakers, not with Gasol, not in the playoff series. I don't think it was really as even right there, because Kobe had a Robin back then. I don't really think LeBron had a Robin on that Cavaliers. But boy, the 2013 Lakers and Heat get to the final stage in the NBA Finals. It's pretty much fair game. Y'all are the two superpowers of the NBA, the two best players in the NBA at the time. We missed it. We missed so much. Injuries. It's almost as if the NBA guys knew that was just too good. Our happy meters would have all been on like a million to see that finals, and they just didn't let it happen. Lakers got cursed, and we still got a pretty entertaining Heat Spurs finals, but I don't think that's anything compared to what it would have been to see LeBron and Kobe on two of the most stacked rosters we probably would have ever seen. And so there's the video. Those are the top four, in my opinion, probably four of the top, I should say, series that we were robbed of. Since this is just a list of four, I know I did miss some playoff series that the stars could have aligned and given us, and that's why I want you to go in the comment section and tell me what a series that we came close to seeing but just didn't see. So like if you look back in this video, every series I gave was practical. It wasn't just some crazy matchup thought of in heaven. These all could have legitimately happened. The Bulls and Rockets, Spurs, Pistons, we missed most of these that I listed by like a hair or just some freak accident, and it just didn't happen. What are some logical series that you guys can think of that came close to happening? I can't wait to read these because I want to hear and I want to, you know, daydream. I guess I want something to daydream about. So as usual, I'm Dom2K, and I'll see you guys on the next video.